What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Back in the shop today. Today we're going to be taking apart the Wild Track. You guys have seen me take apart another race red Bronco before. We're about to do it again. If you look up there on my parts shelf, that is a bunch of fiberglass. The guys over at FUNHAVER Offroad sent me their fiberglass kit for the 6th generation Ford Bronco. I've had this here in the shop for a little while. I've been trying to get around to getting it installed. I've just been extremely busy lately. And I've got a Moab trip coming up, and I'm really trying my hardest to get this installed before I go to Moab. And I'm just really stoked to give it more of a Baja-esque kind of vibe. The FUNHAVER Offroad fiberglass kit is it's got a lot larger wheel openings. It'll accommodate like a 37-inch tire without a lift kit, so or any kind of suspension modifications. This truck is all stock underneath, so I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to look with a stock ride height Bronco. If you guys don't know, this belongs to Ford Motor Company. I am a Team Bronco ambassador. Proudly, I've been representing Ford for the last 3.5 years, and I'm not permitted to make any suspension modifications to the Broncos that they send me. So this is just gonna be some body kits because obviously the fenders are removable as an accessory. So we're gonna bolt these things on. I'm gonna try to get them painted in the next, hopefully, week. So this video is going to be me basically taking the Bronco totally apart, fenders, flares, roof, bumper, grill, and then test fitting these before I send them off to paint and body. I want to make sure they all line up and look good. If I need to make any kind of adjustments, I can do all that while they're, not painted. And then I will have them sitting out to get painted, and then we will fresh install them as a finished product. I'm going to go ahead and put the phone and the cameras and all that kind of stuff up for you guys. And then we're just gonna sort of time lapse taking this thing apart. And then once I get to hanging new glass on the truck, I will kind of show you what that process looks like. All right, let's go ahead and get these things off the shelf and start taking this Bronco apart. Well, I got one of the fenders off. Took, I don't know, about 30 minutes, I guess, to get totally stripped. So now I'm gonna go get one of the fenders, hang it, and just kind of see how it feels and lives over here in this front corner. I am really interested to see the side profile because, again, those fenders are meant for a 37 on these trucks. And this is only gonna be a 35 truck. So yeah, curious to see how that's gonna look because they are supposedly a tad wider than the factory flare. So yeah, might have to change the offset on the wheels. Whatever, let's go get it and see what it looks like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first one is on. I dig it, I really do. I was really worried about how the clearance was gonna look because it's only a 35 truck. I think once I get the fender liner in there, it will look pretty dang good. Obviously a 37 would look ideal. Unfortunately, I'm not permitted to run one, but overall, it doesn't look bad at all. I dig it. Coming from the back. So tire is, the outside bulge of the tire is flush with the fender. So I think, like, honestly, I could run, maybe like a negative, that's a 0 offset wheel, 17x9 with a 0 offset. So, if it was like just a tad more negative, like a negative 12 maybe, then that would look pretty good. Or even better, rather. But even with the 0, it looks pretty dang good. The lines, pretty dang straight, pretty flush. Fender to hood. So I could adjust the hood up just a tad too. which I might do to make that sit just a tad taller. But overall, it looks pretty dang good. So front profile, coming around the front side. I dig it, I really do. So I think what I'm gonna have to do also is I need to trim the top right here just a little bit. It's making a little bit of a bind right here. So I'm gonna notch that just a little bit more. But that's why you test fit fenders before you send them to get painted, because you know, you got to trim a little material here and there off them to make them really sit right. But yeah. All right, I'm hanging the other 3 and then hopefully get these things to paint in the next couple days. Instead of going to that front corner, I went ahead and came straight to the back. Now, I want to get a profile view of one side of the truck. So far, that one hung pretty well. It did feel as if it was a little twisted, which, you know, is kind of common in fiberglass. Fiberglass isn't perfect. It never is. But I got the back fender all pulled off in order to get this. This actually is a lot faster than taking the front off. The hardest part about getting the back fender off is literally taking the roof off. So I got to pull the roof and then pull the flare, and it's literally like 8 bolts and it just comes right off. So I'm going to go ahead and go get the other back, test hang it, see what it looks like, do some little adjustments, lock it down, and then move to the other side. I'm going to hang all 4 fenders and I'm going to drive it around for a day like that, see if it moves and shifts, if I need to make any more trimmings here and there, and then I'll pull them off and then take them to paint. All right, so not too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and drill out all these holes so I can try to mount it. Same thing though, the outside of this is literally flush with the top of the tread end, not the bulge. So a 0 off, 17 by 9, 0 offset, it's like dead flush, like dead flush. So again, if you had -12, that would be really ideal. Yeah. Let me get the door cap and see how that's gonna work. All right, so day 2 here, doing the fiberglass facelift on the Bronco. And I kind of just got tired, really. So I'm going to pull off the driver's side stock stuff and go ahead and hang this side, make sure everything lines up, and then hopefully try to get over to the body shop this afternoon and let them take a look at it and see how long they're going to take. I still have not done the inner liners yet. So again, I got to get basically totally 100% bolted on as if it was done, and then pull it back off to get painted. Just before I take them to paint, I want to make sure that there's no, things that's going to keep them from lining and mounting up, where I will potentially damage the paint after. So yeah, so far it's got a really good vibe to it. Posted it a lot on Instagram last night. A lot of people really excited about how it looks. So I think once it's all dialed in, painted, new wheels, tires, new fresh lights up front, it's going to have a really cool vibe to it. So I'm really excited to show you guys that finished product once I'm all wrapped up with this fun little install. So far, little update here. Like I said, got the front 2 fenders 100% hung. They are aligned and totally secured down. Once I kind of set everything in place and getting the flushness here between door and fender set, getting the gaps set or adjusted correctly, I still noticed that the gaps between fender to hood and fender to hood were a little off. So meaning that I needed to shift the hood, which is what I did. So I adjusted the hood. So now my lines are even on both sides, same gaps, which looks really good. Now I did notice on the driver's side here, the gap is a little larger between fender and door, and it is like I can't adjust it any further back. It's bottomed out here, and it's again, fiberglass is never perfect, but it's pretty dang good. But I did notice that, like I said, this gap is a little larger here than it is on the other side. So it is what it is, but still looks pretty good. Oops, let me just break stuff. But from a distance, and also like once it's painted the same color, it'll help hide that gap even a little more, but it's no more substantial than like the back door gap. But it's just something I did notice. Now another thing that you will have to do is these little threaded pop in on the factory fender. These will have to come off and be installed into the aftermarket fiberglass. So that way your front valence mount plastic thing here has a place to secure to. So I've already pulled it off of the other side and got those installed. So get an idea what that looks like. And again, they just kind of snap in like they did in the factory. So just pull those out, be very careful not to break or bend these tabs, so that way they're reusable. And then pretty self-explanatory there. So I am gonna go ahead, pull those 3 off, put the grill on, put the valence on, like I said, totally button it up as if it was done, and then see how everything sets, make sure the grill doesn't unsnap and everything is nice and secure. And then I'll move on to the liners and try to get those installed, but it's looking pretty dang good. Just showing you guys some of the tips and tricks. I had somebody specifically ask me that on Instagram. This fuel port, what I did is I just got a 2.5-inch hole saw and just put a hole right dead center, and that worked pretty good. You can kind of see it's almost centered. Little tip and trick. So the fuel door that comes with this kit, you can see there was tabs there. There was 4, I just cut 2 of them off. And there was little recessed cut, indentions here for it to kind of go in there, and then it would have 2 or 4 small screws. It just kind of goes into the fiberglass. I never could, I even made these holes a little wider too. It didn't seem to really sit like super flush, right? And I wanted it to sit flush. So what I did is I cut those tabs off, or almost all of them. Let me go ahead and pop this last 2. So basically I just scored them and they they should just pop right off. Okay, got all the tabs cut off, and then now it'll sit nice and flush. And these recessed holes had literally just decorative stainless hex screws. I pulled those out. I'm going to drill all of these holes out and physically bolt this to the fender is what I'm going to do. That way there's no way it's going to come off or vibrate loose, because it'll have a whole bunch of hardware holding it on, and then it sits nice and flush. So there you go. Boom, all 4 fenders are mounted and aligned and secure. Got the doors off still, but look at that. Bam. Sexy. Everything's nice and tight. Got the holes drilled out for the fuel cap. Gotta get some hardware though, bolt that on. Coming around the other side. Boom. So good. One thing I gotta do is get the door pieces on. Probably gonna let the body guys do that though, because yeah. And then same thing up here in front corner. Nice and tight, everything lines up. Valence is nice and pretty, grill's nice and pretty. I did have to adjust my hood a little bit. So, but yeah, gaps are all nice and tight. FUNHAVER fiberglass, sexy.